the deep.
Kevin Moskowitz, the Lord of the Seven Seas, the Peak, Vought's very own Aquaman, and arguably the single most useless member of the Seven. For 4 seasons of The Boys, we've watched the Deep commit acts of spectacular incompetence. We've watched him get kicked out of a superhero team, join a cult centered around Fresca, write a memoir titled Deeper, and engage in romantic relationships with aquatic life that I legally cannot describe in full detail on YouTube. But today, I'm not here to talk about his moral failings. I'm here to uncover the biggest lie in Vought history. A lie so profound, so deeply pathetic, that it completely changes how you will watch this show forever. You see, we are told the Deep has 3 powers. 1, he has gills that let him breathe underwater. 2, he has enhanced swimming speed and durability. And 3, he can telepathically communicate with sea creatures. But I am here to present a foolproof, undeniable, scientifically sound theory. The Deep cannot talk to fish.
No cap on God, bro.
He has absolutely 0 telepathic abilities. He is, in fact, just a severely insecure, incredibly lonely guy suffering from unchecked schizophrenia, projecting his own inner monologue onto random sea creatures. Let's look at the evidence. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to realize that Kevin is swimming in a very, very shallow pool of reality. If you possessed the miraculous ability to hear the thoughts of animals, what do you think they'd actually say? A fish's brain is about the size of a pea. If they had an internal monologue, it would probably just be food, swim, cold, dark. Oh look, a shiny thing. But that's not what the Deep hears. Whenever the Deep talks to a sea creature, their dialogue is suspiciously complex. In fact, they sound exactly like a 30-year-old frat boy who just got his first therapist.
We know you were responsible for the pipeline genocide. Remember March 15th, motherfucker!
Let's look at the tragic tale of Timothy the Octopus. Homelander forces the Deep to eat his 8-legged friend alive to prove his loyalty. As Kevin is crying, he begs Homelander to stop, claiming that Timothy is praying and that he has a family.
He's begging for his life. His kids.
Hold on a second. Pause. Are you telling me that a wild octopus comprehends the concept of a monotheistic god? An octopus is down there in the Mariana Trench reciting the Lord's Prayer? Does Timothy have a mortgage? Does he have a wife named Susan and 2 little octopus kids in private school? Of course not. That makes 0 biological sense.
No cap on God, bro.
But you know who is terrified of Homelander, desperately wants to be saved by a higher power, and is mourning the loss of his own family and career? Kevin. The Deep isn't translating Timothy's thoughts. Timothy is just squirming because he's out of the water, and the Deep's fractured, psychotic brain is projecting his own sheer terror onto the nearest living thing. Timothy isn't praying. Kevin is. But it gets worse. Let's talk about his romantic life. Let's talk about Ambrosius. In the show, Ambrosius is voiced by the incredibly talented, elegant, and sophisticated Tilda Swinton. She is articulate, emotionally intelligent, and constantly giving the Deep high-level psychological advice about his toxic relationship with Homelander.
I hate it when you get nasty.
Well, what choice do I have when you're rubbing my face in it?
Oh, what, that I'm happy for once? I'm sorry.
I feel sorry for you.
For me? For me? Oh, look at you.
You won't be laughing when you realize she doesn't respect you.
But she does respect me!
Wake up, Kevin! She's using you! You're
You
throwing
shut
us
the
away
fuck
for
up!
a woman
Guys,
who thinks you're pathetic.
it's a mollusk. It lives in a tank in his closet. Why would an octopus have an upper-class British accent? Why would a cephalopod understand the intricate power dynamics of a multi-billion-dollar superhero corporation? The answer is painfully obvious. The Deep is the loneliest man on the planet. He is universally hated by women, mocked by his peers, and abused by Homelander. His ego is so bruised, so fragile, that his subconscious literally invented the perfect girlfriend. His brain looked at a slimy invertebrate and said, "Ah, yes, a sophisticated British woman who loves me for who I am, validates my insecurities, and tells me I'm a good boy," is just the deep talking to himself. It's a coping mechanism for a man whose self-esteem is so deeply in the Mariana Trench that it's being crushed by the atmospheric pressure. When he's arguing with Ambrosius, he's just experiencing cognitive dissonance. It's his own conscience trying to tell him he's pathetic. Now, you might be thinking, but wait, narrator, the animals follow his commands. That proves he's telepathic. Does it, though? Let's review his track record as an aquatic commander. In Season 1, he tries to rescue a dolphin from an amusement park. He claims the dolphin is hitting on him and told him it wants to touch his, well, you know. Again, we see the projection. The Deep is a notorious creep. He's projecting his own predatory behavior onto a helpless mammal. Then, he puts the dolphin in a van, brakes too hard, and the dolphin flies out the windshield and gets run over by a truck. In Season 2, he rides a magnificent whale named Lucy onto a beach to block the boys' boat. He claims he and Lucy had a bond. What happens? Billy Butcher rams a speedboat directly through the whale's internal organs. If the Deep actually had a telepathic link with these animals, wouldn't they communicate things like, "Hey Kevin, maybe don't put me in a Ford Transit van," or, "Hey Kevin, that boat isn't slowing down. I'd like to dive now." Instead, the animals just blindly do whatever he physically forces them to do, and his hallucinating brain fills in the gaps, convincing him that they are willing participants in his heroic crusades. They aren't following telepathic orders. He's literally just dragging them into oncoming traffic. So, if his powers are fake, why did Vought put him in the Seven? Look at it from Vought's perspective. Vought is a marketing company, not a superhero agency. They needed an Aquaman ripoff to hit the ocean-loving demographic. They found a guy who was born with functional gills, who could swim really fast, and who looked great in a sleeveless green wetsuit. Did they test his telepathy? Probably. And when they put him in a room with a goldfish, and Kevin confidently declared, "The goldfish says he respects American capitalism and thinks I have great biceps," the Vought scientists probably just looked at each other, signed the paperwork, and said, "Sure, whatever. Just don't let him talk to the press." Vought knows he's just a schizophrenic guy with gills. But as long as he sells action figures and advocates for plastic-free oceans on his Instagram, they do not care that he is having full-blown psychiatric episodes in the seafood aisle of Whole Foods. When you look at the boys through this lens, the Deep stops being just a comedic relief character and becomes a deeply tragic psychological thriller. He is a man trapped in his own head. Every time he looks into a fish tank, he's just looking into a mirror. Every compliment he's ever gotten from a sea bass, every argument he's ever had with an octopus, and every plea for mercy from a lobster. It was all just Kevin Moskowitz talking to himself in an empty room, desperately wishing he was actually a hero. He doesn't have the power of the ocean. He just desperately needs a prescription for antipsychotics and a good therapist, who is a human, and preferably not kept in a glass tank in his closet. But hey, that's just a theory. A deep theory. If you enjoyed this psychological breakdown of Vought's Biggest Loser, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Who do you think is actually crazier, Homelander or the Peak? Until next time, Stay out of the water, and seriously, don't drink the Fresca.